Good afternoon, Eric, the Big E Arnold here on Monday, November 9th in the late afternoon here. I don't know, 4:30 or so. Well, welcome back. We're going to do the sports barn here. We're in the sports barn. That means we're talking sports, not politics. We're going to recap our Tale of Two Cities weekend and then give you our Monday night football pick between the visiting Patriots and the winless Jets. Um, Showdown extraordinaire tonight on Monday Night Football. Pointed out, I knew it. I mean, I told you I was down when I made my last sports video. I told you right up front. And that was pointed out to me numerous places. I'm not going to apologize. I said to myself I'd make these videos until it became work. And frankly, Saturday it just seemed like work. So I was just, depressed. So I know that came out in the video. I'll try not to be that depressed again. It was a good thing though manned up and made the video because we had some winners, and I'll get to that in a minute. But Ranj, thanks for putting my pro picks on your website. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, RANJ, and his channel is called Capper Comparison Picks. I think he focuses primarily on UFC and the NFL, which is good for me because if he focused on college football, I'd really look like an idiot. So I probably look okay over there to his people. But, college football, I can't hit water if I fell out of a boat. I said we're going to talk sports here. Let me just mention one thing here. We have a political video running right now that I made this morning that, frankly, I think is pretty important. Undercovered evidence of incorrect votes, missing votes here in the critical state of Pennsylvania, right here in my home county. Inexplicable missing votes, extreme undervotes from historical norms. I think it's significant. I'd like an explanation. So far, I checked the comments. People seem to be okay with what we're putting out there. I thought it was just hilarious. It took forever for that video to upload. Normally these videos upload in, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes maybe. This one took over an hour. And I guarantee you that some human at YouTube was sitting there watching it going, should we let it go through? Should we let it go through? I don't know. I don't know. He's casting aspersions on the election. I don't know. This could be subversive. Yeah, the politics barn is not long for YouTube. I'm sure of that. I'm certain of that. I was looking at something called BitChute today, glanced at it. We got to find a more freedom-friendly outlet than YouTube. Now, in fairness to YouTube, they let the video go through. They slap their little warning devices, warning messages on it, which always kind of reminds me of that movie Starship Troopers, where the Nazi-esque society that's fighting the insects, and they have these patriotic videos teaching the kids how to kill bugs and something, and then it goes across the bottom of the screen. It says, "Would you like to know more?" And then YouTube has their little patriotic message there saying, "This is disinformation. Would you like to know more?" Okay, it's not misinformation. I mean, it's factual information. You can draw whatever conclusions from it you want, but it's factual information. So that's up right now in the politics barn. Important stuff for you. I'm talking to Rusty Hall. He's the only one that watches these recap videos, and he's expressed interest in the politics too. So Rusty, it's over in the politics barn. Go read it or watch it. All right, let's get to it. Let's recap this horrific college football Saturday. It was, again, Tale of Two Cities, Tale of 2 days. So bad day Saturday. We were actually doing well, coming into Saturday. We had the Packers. That was an easy winner. Utah State, not Utah State, Nevada. They played very well for us. Wyoming, that was an L. But then Friday, Good Friday, North Carolina State, they scored all game there with Miami and pulled out the cover, even though they got the loss. BYU crushed Boise. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with BYU. They just keep kicking the shit out of everybody. And, you know, they could very well be undefeated when they roll around to committee time. You know, what are you going to do with these guys? Let's put it this way. If BYU has 13 wins by huge margins, 13-0, and there's Ohio State that's 7-0, you know, or worse yet, Clemson with a loss. What do you do? I mean, if you're not going to give one of these little schools a shot in this kind of year, then what's the point of the committee? You know, what is the point of the committee? All you have to do then is simply go to Vegas, figure out which teams generate the highest point spreads. Those are your 4 playoff teams. There's no need for a committee. So we'll see what they do. All right, then Saturday, which was just an abject disaster again. I said there was no way Temple would fail to stay within 3 touchdowns in Philadelphia with SMU. And it looked like at halftime I was right. I think Temple was winning at half. And then they just fell apart. So SMU outscored them like 28, 35 points in the second half. My mouth's getting ahead of my brain, and I'm getting my dry throat there, and trying to keep my voice even and YouTube-esque, right? Anyway, Tulane, they got the win. That was one of our winners. How about these guys? Liberty gets the W. There's another one. They could be undefeated this year. They've beaten Syracuse. They've beaten Virginia Tech. I would say that BYU is better than Liberty. But still, you know, this is a big year for Liberty. Hugh Freeze. I think we lost this one by half a point. 18.5 we were laying, and I forget the final, but it was close to that, but we were on the wrong end of it. I said these point spreads are too big. Unless your team just opens up and scores 35, 42 points in the first half, you know, it's almost like sometimes, some Saturdays, teams are just unstoppable. And then it doesn't matter what the spread is. And that was one of these games. North Carolina had about 1 million points, and Duke just couldn't stop them. I'm going to have to, I don't know, maybe I'll actually have to try to find some time to not live in the past. Maybe I just can't, you know, we miss it. I don't know how Jim Harbaugh keeps his job. Yeah, I would have fired him before that game was over. That's it. It's over. Sorry. Well, enough's enough. We'll have an assistant finish out the year. Thank you for your service. Goodbye. But you lost to Indiana. I don't know what this means for Ohio State. Their toughest game now is going to be Indiana. Penn State's down. They're 0 for the schedule. Michigan, at least they have a win over Minnesota on their resume. Other than that, they're 1-2. So, Iowa, I got that wrong. I wanted to take Iowa, and I just was like, well, all the metrics say this is a Michigan State spot here. And I just thought, Iowa's better than those guys. They're primed for a big effort, and they did. They crushed Michigan State. My mistake. We guessed right there with Arizona State. Memphis, they simply played very little defense. They were just down. I think after losing to Cincinnati, that was my mistake there. Cincinnati, I think, beat those guys up, and they were just kind of like, oh, all right, well, here comes South Florida. We have to play because our scholarships depend on it, but we're really not into this game. So that was a bad game. I think Memphis barely won. Isn't it funny that once you know a game is lost as far as you have not covered, you don't even care about the outcome. You don't care. You just don't give a shit. It's like, that game's gone, uncovered, lost. Oh, my team actually won the game. Who cares? Let's see. Texas won, but could not score. Again, these teams, they go from scoring 50 points in one week to 17 the next week. I got to think about that. There's got to be a rhyme to that. They cannot just be random. I got to think about that. Nebraska unable to handle Northwestern. Scott Frost is one of my guys. I thought he did a phenomenal job at Central Florida, and I've been waiting for this guy to be the Messiah there at Nebraska like they think he is. And where is it? It's getting late here, guy. Come on. When are you going to make Nebraska? Nebraska should be able, with all their institutional advantages that they have as far as football goes, they should be able to throw their helmets on the field and beat Northwestern. That's quite an indictment that they can't. So I don't know what to say there. Maybe Frost is not all I think he is. Billy Napier gets the win, but again fails to cover. I don't know. Maybe he's already, measuring the drapes at one of these. Where would he go? I don't know if he would jump straight into the SEC or if he would take a stop at like the American or something before he gets to the SEC. I don't know. I'd like to see him maybe take a stop at maybe not quite an SEC program, but a little short of that. I'm feeling an example right now in my head. Well, I guess right there with Boston College, they're not that much worse than Syracuse, or I should say better than Syracuse. So that was close, and we got the win. Massachusetts, guessed right there, they hung on to lose. They hung on to lose by 41 points. Appy State, they got for my purposes, they got the win. They won by 21 points, and I saw the line in most places was 21 by game time. But when we made the video, damn it was 20. So I need the win. I'm keeping it. The water boy just keeps on trucking. Luke Fickle, he is subscriber X thinks he's the next coach at Michigan. Maybe that's why. Well, yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, why not? That has some historical parallels there. The Ohio State guy goes to Michigan and then beats Ohio State, then starting a war, or so we call it, the old Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes 10-year war. I could go for that. I could go for some good. I miss Michigan. I miss those guys being good. I know I should be careful to what I ask or wish for, but we used to have some really fun games with those guys. And honestly, lately, it's just kind of an afterthought. Oh, it's never boring and it's never sad to beat them, but if they were good, they'd make us better. At any rate, Maryland winning outright as a 26.5 point. See, this is happening again and again this year where huge underdogs not only are covering, they're winning outright just in this crazy random year. Maryland, they lost by 40 points to Northwestern. Is it possible Northwestern's really good? I have no explanation. Anyway, we covered that one. That was a mistake. I knew it right as soon as I'm writing it down. It's like, what are you doing? You're taking Lovie Smith over PJ Fleck. What are you doing? And we paid for that because Minnesota and PJ Fleck are much better than Illinois, and we should have known that. So that's an L. Les Miles gets paid again, i.e. whoever faded Les Miles, which should be everybody. You get paid again there. Texas Tech, they couldn't get there. That's an L. Good for you, Florida. I said, prove it to me, and you did. You went out there and got it done. So I think Florida now looking like they've got an inside track to the playoffs. That'd be Dan Mullen's first time around in the big show. That'd be interesting. So congratulations to Florida. They were much the best over Georgia. Mississippi State, lazy, crummy effort there. It'll take, I think, Leach a while to get all everything lined up there the way he wants it. They got it. They got the W, but they didn't cover the 19. I, I, I don't know how we missed this game. Again, I'm living in the past. Pittsburgh, from what I've seen of them all year, been terrible. Just no offense, pretty good defense, no offense. I thought Florida State was starting to play better, and they just go out and just completely lay an egg there at home. I don't know. So big L there. Good for Kansas State. Good home team. They cover. Baylor gets it done up at Iowa State. Again, two teams not that far apart. 2-touchdown spread. I'm living in the past. I guess Chip Kelly is not as good. So when are you going to make this team good, Chip Kelly? I've been waiting for you to get this team to be good, and you got beat by Colorado. See, that's another game. I don't even know who won. I know UCLA didn't cover. I'm not sure who won the game. I think Colorado did. We got that right. Texas A&M, big effort at South Carolina. I don't know what happened here. Ohio State was up 35-3 at half, and that's the point where now we just go ahead and win 68-2 or 3. They already had 3, and I guess maybe a couple thoughts. Our backups are probably not very good. We probably don't have a lot of depth this year. And Rutgers is probably pretty good. I mean, better than your normal Rutgers team. Chiano is a much better coach than your typical Rutgers coach. So, that might be something to consider as we go through the Big Ten season here. These opening Pac-12 games, you're just guessing. I guessed wrong. Stanford generally plays pretty well against Oregon. Not the case. Couldn't get it done. Arkansas getting the W in strong fashion over Tennessee. How about Arkansas? What a year they're having. Out of nowhere. Just out of nowhere. So, I got to think Arkansas is one of the... they're in the top half of that SEC West, no doubt. Half a point. Coastal Carolina won by 17. That half point cost us the W on that big game. And then Oregon State, again, we're guessing, clearly guessing. They just didn't fire. Couldn't stop Washington State. Washington State played very cohesively and well. And that's a big loss. So big, terrible Saturday. Now let's get to the good part. So I'm feeling like shit. And we roll into Sunday. And then, it 7 wins, 1 loss. How about that? I've always said I wanted to win the Sunday games because that's what people care about. And I'll be goddamned. We did it. We had the Bills. They really played well. Conversely, the Seahawks didn't play well. A nice, easy, keep them at arm's length pretty much throughout the whole game type win. Same with the Falcons. They got up early on those guys. Almost since, I guess, Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley have come back, the Falcons have started covering some numbers. They really can score, and as long as they're playing these jabroni-type teams like the Broncos and they don't get too close to the playoffs. They're kind of like Icarus. As long as they don't get too close to the sun and their wings melt off, they're fine. The Vikings, they're getting back in the swing of things. They know that they've got a path to the playoffs. All they got to do is take care of business. I think they're going to. They beat the Lions pretty easily. Got the Ravens here. How about that? We were watching that game, and things were looking a little sad there for the Ravens. They couldn't get out of their own way. And then Harbaugh just told Jackson, look, just throw the ball. Just go back, throw the ball. We're done with this running attack, which the Colts are clearly ready for. And he hit it. He did it. He hits passes. He was accurate. He made some plays with his legs. The Ravens' defense was very good. And that was your W there. The Giants keep. We watched a lot of this game, and I'll tell you something. I'm impressed by both teams. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy. You're impressed by the Washington thing, the Washington whatever. I was wondering about that. There's all these people out there, Redskins fans, that have Redskins stuff. Are they now prohibited from going to the game? I mean, you know, I used to have a shirt that after Chase Utley gave his speech after the Phillies won the World Series in '08, of course, Chase Utley famously, be careful, Eric Conkle, profanity upcoming. Chase Utley famously said, "World fucking champions." And so we, had T-shirts made up. Well, I would walk in with my shirt and they would immediately flag me and say, "You got to take that off or turn it inside out." So do they do that now for the Redskins people, of which there's, tens of thousands of them that have all sorts of jerseys and jackets and hats and no limit of stuff that say Redskins on it. So are they forbidden from going into the stadium now? So I don't know that. They've just started allowing fans in there down in Maryland. So I don't know. It was just a thought that occurred to me. At any rate, I'm impressed by both teams. Now Washington has as their quarterback Alex Smith. He looks back to normal to me. I mean, he threw some bad interceptions, and maybe you'll say, well, that's normal. Nah, he hasn't played. He was rusty. I think he makes that team better. I mean, if I'm just some guy on that Redskins team collecting a check, and here comes this guy, and I've watched the documentary where they cut off half his leg. They cut off half his damn leg, and now here he is out there playing NFL football at a pretty high level. I'm Mr. Jabroni collecting my check. I'm thinking, maybe I should up my game a little bit here. Just look at that guy. I need to be more of a man like this guy is. So I think Washington's going to play pretty well here in the next few games. The Giants, they just keep playing well. They've played well now for a while. They've been covering spreads left and right. They get it done for us again. So that's a winner for us. We finally got one with the Cowboys. How about that? They had to put the number up over 2 touchdowns, but finally it was enough. So we got that one. How about them Dolphins? We've been having some fun with them. They keep covering. And then we're 7-0, going for a perfect night, and we're ready for the big NBC game with the 2 Hall of Famers, Breeze, Brady. This is an all-time game. Here we go. And my team didn't show up at all. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened. The Buccaneers, it was like they weren't even there. They might have won 15% of the plays all night. To me, you run a play and I'm on offense and I get 6, 8, 10 yards or more, I won the play. I'm on defense, I stop you or no game, I won the play. Well, Buccaneers, they didn't win hardly any plays all night. Offense, defense, terrible. One of the worst games. They were laughing at them, basically, by the end. So, can't win them all. 7 wins, 1 loss. Thank God for that. So I feel better about my handicapping ability at whatever time it is on the 9th of November. All right, Monday night game. Now this is a tough game. I don't think there's a lot of value in this game. The Patriots are not the Patriots. They haven't played well all year. They're 2-5. They have a pretty average quarterback in Cam Newton. They have a lot of injuries. But still, they're 2-5. Uh, they have a lot of winnable games left on the schedule. This is a must-win game for these guys. I think they know it. They know the season's. Belichick knows it. I mean, he's getting to the point where things are starting to get embarrassing for this guy. Um, I just don't know what else to do here but take the Patriots. I mean, I know Belichick he covered last week. He lost, but he covered. Um, he's been close to some really good teams. I mean, he was driving for the tying or go ahead touchdown against the Bills. You saw what they did yesterday. They're 6-2. He was going to try to tie the game out at Kansas City when he had a pick six go against him. That made it look worse than it was. He's beaten the Raiders. He's beaten the Dolphins. The Jets haven't beaten anybody. Plus, they got Joe Flacco at quarterback, right? The Flacco games where Darnold didn't play earlier in the year, God, they weren't close. None of these games have been close with the Jets. None of them. I think the closest they've been to anyone all year long is 8 points. It's just a bad team. They're not like, we're barely losing. No, they're losing significantly to everybody. That number scares me. That's a big number, and the Patriots have not been scoring points. But I've got to take the Patriots. I don't want the Jets here. I just don't. I think that's just. I think you're trying to be a little too clever by half by taking the Jets there. I don't love it. I'll just put the 1 star on it. But I think that's where your value is. I mean, at the end of the day, the Patriots are still the Patriots. There's still some veterans there with pride. I don't think Belichick's going to allow those guys to quit. I think they're going to give an effort tonight. I'm trying to envision the game, where they just keep panning the Patriots sideline as it's Jets 21, Patriots nothing, and Belichick's just standing there trying to. You can never read him. He looks the same whether he's furious or whether he's happy. So that'll be kind of boring. They'll pan right to him, and he'll look like he's selling you a Subway sandwich. You'll get nothing out of the guy. Well, I still think he's going to cover. I think the number's mostly 10. I saw a couple 9.5s where I got my money at, so I'm taking it at 9.5. If you like the Jets, take the 10, obviously. But all right, that's what we got for you. Thanks for being here. We'll try to get the right now, I guess. What I would say on the college football picks is when we bring those up, you bet against them as hard as you can because they're all wrong. I don't know what I need to do to turn the dial to get that in focus. NFL picks we're okay with, but Rome wasn't built in a day. So we appreciate all the people that watch the videos. We hope we entertain you just a little bit. And we'll see you again. Let's get some winner tonight. Patriots. From me to you, out.